Today I have my buddy Batman, and we're going to read you a story about a little black cat named Sneakers. Sneakers, the Seaside Cat. Once there was a little fat cat, and his name was Sneakers. He had 4 white paws, and almost all the rest of him was inky black. He lived with a little boy, and his father and his mother. One day, the little boy and his father and mother went to the seashore. When Sneakers came to the sea, he was delighted. He could smell the fish. He thought he could catch them, like mice. But when he dipped his careful little white paw into the blue sea, the water was wet, and it was cold. So Sneakers decided to go out into the field and look for mice instead. The field was full of butterflies, so Sneakers chased one, but the sea was bothering him. All around him he could smell it, smell the pine trees, and he could feel it. It excited him. And way off, he could still hear it. Boom, boom, boom. Sneakers did not know that boom, boom, boom was the sea, pounding the rocks way offshore, out on the edges of the sea. Then he heard, ha, 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 scree, scree. He wondered what it was. At first, it was a shadow. Then it was a bird. Only it was such a very big bird, it did not seem frightened of a little black cat with white paws. Sneakers didn't like to think about birds who were not afraid of cats, so he went for a walk on the beach. Little shrimps, about the size of a cat's claw, jumped about in the sand. Sneakers roughed up his fur and lifted his feet higher as he walked along. Pounce! He nearly caught a sand shrimp, but sand shrimps were jumping all the time, and they were too little to bother with anyway. Then up ahead, on the yellow sand, Sneakers saw something. It was yellow and pink on the outside. Sneakers had never seen anything that shape before. Then he crept up to it and peeked in. There was nothing in it. He put his head down to it and listened. There was a roar, like the ocean's roar in it, but there was nothing in the shell. So he lifted his paws and he walked along the beach some more. He saw a big flat thing with long bent legs. Sneakers could see the 2 black shining eyes sticking out of its head. Sneakers crept after it, but the crab's eyes stuck out so far of his head that he could see Sneakers coming. The crab scuttled down to the water's edge, but Sneakers was too quick for it. He hit the crab with his paw to see what it would do. And this is what the crab did. The crab shot out one of its long bent legs and grabbed hold of Sneakers' little white paw in its claw. It hung on and pinched Sneakers a little. Sneakers didn't like that at all. He snatched his paw back so fast that the crab fell off. Then he licked his paw and roughed out his fur and walked down along the beach. Something was happening in the air. The air was wetter and heavier. Sneakers could feel it on his tender little nose. When he looked around, there were great puffs of smoke blowing in from the sea. They smelled of the sea and came drifting in puffs as big as clouds, until you couldn't see the sea anymore. Everything was gray, and the land beyond it was dim and dark, like one big shape. My, but I'm glad I saw that, thought Sneakers. In the morning it was still foggy. Down in the depths of the sea, the fish swam slowly. The starfish pointed their spiky arms. Lobsters crawled into lobster pots, and sea urchins clung to the rocks. Then the sun came out of the gray and drove the fog away. It was low tide, and all around was seaweed. Then Sneakers heard a popping. It was like creaky breathing. It was the seaweed popping. My, I'm glad I heard that, said Sneakers. And he sat and warmed himself in the sunlight and watched the light on the waves. The next day, it was time for Sneakers and his family to go home. They left the seashore, and all the way home, in the car, Sneakers thought little soft cat thoughts about the sea. I hope you like the story. It's one of my favorites. I wonder if Batman liked it. Did you like it, Batman? Did you take a nap? Yeah, little buddy.